So in today's video, we are going to be ranking every Premier League home kit for the 22-23 campaign from best to worst. If you do going to enjoy, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and hit 60 likes on today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you are new as well. We are now on the road to 7,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so and it does massively help out. Get your thoughts as well down in the comment section down below. Which kit do you think is the best? Which kit do you think is the worst? Let's waste no further time and get straight on with today's video. So we are back once again on Tier List Maker. We have 5 categories as always for today's video. We have beauty, decent, average, poor and stinker. Now with the Premier League there is a lot of basic sort of kits, so I don't anticipate many to be in the higher categories. If you want to see more kits that I believe should be in the higher categories, then check out my rankings of every League 2, League 1 or Championship home kits as well. We will get into the away kits and even the third kits as well when everybody does release theirs. But let's start off then with Arsenal. I think the Adidas have done a pretty decent job. There's not really much you can do with red and white. Adidas as well. Adidas and Nike usually two companies or kit providers that give you fairly basic kits. I don't think they've done anything wrong with this. They've got the collar on there. I think it looks quite smart. I think we're starting out with a decent kit here from Arsenal. Next up then is Manchester City. They've obviously gone with the classic blue and white. They put like some claret trimmings on it. They've got a central badge and kit provider. I don't really get the hype around central badges. It's not for me personally. I don't really like it and it's going in stinker. I'm just not a fan really. It just doesn't really look like a Man City kit, or at least a Man City home kit in my opinion. And with it having a centre badge, just not for me personally. I'm sure some people like the centre badges, but it's definitely not for me. From one end of the list straight to the other though, Brighton's home kit for this season is absolutely fantastic. This is one of the very few night kits that I've seen which isn't just a template design. I think it looks very nice. They've done very well to fit the sponsor in there. They've even got some yellow trimmings on there. I think it looks very, very nice. It's one of the few beauties out of the Premier League this season, and it is, an absolutely unbelievable kit in my opinion. Next up then is Tottenham Hotspur. Again, Nike have gone with a pretty template kit here. It is just a white shirt with some green and dark blue trimmings on, which I think looks interesting. The sponsor fits in fairly well. Not a lot going on really. I think it's just a fairly simple kit. I'm going to have to put it into the average category. Next up then is Chelsea, and again, very similar to Tottenham, just not a lot going on. It is literally just a blue shirt. They've got a little bit of a design on the collar. The sponsor fits in fairly well, but it is quite massive. Yeah, it's just, there's been simple and then there's just not really putting any thought into it whatsoever. There's not even like different shades of blue going on. It's a poor kit. It's just, there's not a lot going on in my opinion. Next up then is Leeds United. They've gone with obviously the classic white and then they've got some dark blue and green trimmings on it. I don't think green should be on a Leeds United home kit. It just looks a bit ugly in my opinion. Now maybe you can call me biased because I want obviously Leeds to have an ugly kit with me being a Bradford City fan, but it's just not for me personally. I don't quite think it's a stinker. I'm going to put it in the poor category. I don't think Adidas have done a great job with that whatsoever. Maybe if they didn't have the green on there and it was more yellow, maybe that suits Leeds United colours a little bit more, then it might look a little bit better. It might just be this picture that I've got here that it looks a little bit green on, but yeah, it's a poor kit in my opinion. Next up then is Manchester United. Now I think Adidas have done a very good job with this one. I think they've absolutely smashed it. It's going into the beauty category in my opinion. They've got a nice collar on there. The sponsor fits in fairly well. They've got some like white dots coming round up until the sponsor coming down the shirt. The collar looks nice. The sleeve sponsor fits in fairly well. I think Man United and Adidas have done a very good job with it here. The badge fits in fairly well as well, with them having an extra crest around the actual crest. I think it looks very nice and it's going into that beauty category alongside Brighton in my opinion. Next up then is Newcastle United, and while it's an okay kit, obviously the classic black and white stripes of Newcastle, the badge and the kit provider don't really fit in between the lines. Even that I think would be a poor, but this massive blue sponsor which just looks like it's been stuck on, it genuinely looks like a sticker. It looks horrible. It looks hideous. It's going in the stinker category. It's just not one for me personally. They've also got a big yellow square on the sleeve. Yeah, it's really not for me. It's going into that stinker category. Next up then is Brentford, and again very similar to Newcastle, just the classic obviously red instead of black and white stripes. Not too much going on. The sponsor doesn't really fit in very well. I think the Brentford badge itself looks fairly big and the sleeve sponsor doesn't really fit in with it having blue, yellow and green and purple on. Doesn't really fit in with the red and white kit whatsoever. I think this one's joining Newcastle, Man City in the stinky kit. There is some real shockers this year in the Premier League, and that's another one going in the bottom category in my opinion. If you are interested in going the extra mile to support the channel, then feel free to become a member and unlock members only videos, receive early access to videos, you get a shout out in every video. Also, you'll be able to access exclusive member badges and emotes as well as other exclusive content. Prices start from as little as 99p. Thank you very much for your support. Next up then is Liverpool, and it is literally just a red top with a night tick, the Liverpool badge and a sponsor. I think it's very similar to those of Chelsea and Tottenham. At least Tottenham had a little bit going on the sleeves and the collars. It's going in that poor category. Not because I don't think it's a bad design or whatever, it's just boring. There's nothing going on. It's very plain, and yeah, similar to Chelsea, it's going to have to go into that poor category. Next up then is Crystal Palace. Macron have tried to do something a little bit different here. I think the sponsor fits in fairly nicely. I really like this kit. I think it's definitely a Marmite kit. For me personally, I absolutely love it. It's going in that beauty category alongside Man United and Brighton. I think Macron have done a very good job with this one. They've got some nice trimmings on the sleeves as well and around the collar. I think it looks very nice in my opinion. Next up then is Fulham, and Adidas have tried to do something a little bit different here. Obviously the classic main colour of being white of Fulham with the black trimmings. They also put some like, is it red or maybe burgundy trimmings on as well, which I think looks unique to say the least. And do I like it? Do I hate it? I don't think I do either of them, to be honest with you. I'm going to put it in the average category alongside Spurs. Not the worst kit on this list. It's certainly not the best, though. Next up, then, is Nottingham Forest. Now, a kit without a sponsor can sometimes look like a training kit, which is what it does at the end of the day. This does look like a training kit, but Macron, they've actually put a little bit of thought and design into the sleeves and into the collars as well, which is why it's not going into the category with Chelsea and Liverpool, that sort of category, because if it had a sponsor, it would be a fairly nice kit. Don't think it's the best kit on this list. Don't think it's the worst, but with it not having a sponsor, I can't really put it any higher than that because it just doesn't really look like a football kit, in my opinion. I'm sure some of you will disagree, but for the time being, I'm going to chuck it into the average category. Next up then is Southampton, and it's just a mess, isn't it? It is just a mess. It doesn't look like a home kit whatsoever. It looks absolutely hideous, and it's going into that stinker category. Not for me. It's also got a betting sponsor on there. It's got a central badge. It's just everything that I wouldn't want on a football kit. It is really, really ugly, and this is without a shadow of a doubt the worst kit we will ever see when I'm ever doing a ranking video. It is absolutely hideous. I don't know what Hummel have tried to do here, but it just looks awful. Let's move on quickly then to West Ham. I think this is a very nice kit. Maybe not quite nice enough that it goes into that top category with having a betting sponsor as well. I'm going to have to bring it down a couple of marks. Definitely will put it into the decent category though. I think Umbro have done a very nice job with this one. I like the trimmings on the sleeves as well, the nice design on there. I think everything fits in fairly nicely. Nothing's looking out of place. The classic claret and blue of West Ham, and I'm going to chuck it into that decent category. Next up then is Aston Villa, and when Castor have been designing these Villa kits, they have all been fairly similar. It's a decent kit. You never really get anything less than a 7 or 8 out of 10 from Castor, especially when we're talking Aston Villa. Again, the classic claret and blue of Aston Villa. I think the sponsor fits in fairly nicely. They've got a nice V sort of design coming throughout the whole kit. I think it looks fairly nice. I'm going to chuck it in that decent category alongside West Ham. 4 kits to go then. Everton up next, made by Hummel, and I do think the design of this kit is quite nice, but having a massive sponsor in there, and it's also a betting sponsor, just takes it down in my estimations. I do think the design of the kit does look quite nice, but overall for me, I can't put it any higher just because of the big sponsor. It just looks so out of place, and it's a betting sponsor. I'm going to have to put it into the average category. Next up then is Bournemouth, and again, I like the design of the kit, but having a big sponsor just doesn't really look like, with it being a red and black kit and then having a big yellow design on there, it just looks a little bit out of place, and it's a betting sponsor. I really do like the design of the kit. If you had a different sort of sponsor which fit in a little bit better, we might be talking about a kit that could potentially be in that beauty category, but for those reasons that I've just explained, I can't put it any higher than decent. I do like the design, but the sponsor again just doesn't really fit in my opinion. Next up then is Leicester City, and I think Adidas have done a very good job with this one. He's got a nice collar on there as well. The sponsor fits in fairly well, although it is a little bit big in my opinion, which again takes it down a couple marks in my estimations. Overall, I'm going to put it in a decent category. I think Adidas have done a fairly decent job with this one. And the final kit on today's list is Wolverhampton Wanderers, designed by Castor. I think the sponsor fits in fairly well. I know they've got that little red mark on there, which looks interesting to say the least. But again, don't think Castore have done too bad of a job here. There's a lot of sponsors going on. There's a lot going on the sleeves as well, which I'm not too sure what's really going on there. But it's a pretty simple design. Nothing too much going on. Nothing too bad though whatsoever. I think it's probably going to go at the top end of average, in my opinion. But there you have it. There is my ranking of every Premier League home kit for the 2022-23 campaign. In the stinker category, we have Man City, Newcastle, Brentford and Southampton. In the poor category, we have Chelsea, Liverpool and Leeds United. In the average category, we have Wolves, Tottenham, Fulham, Nottingham Forest and Everton. In the decent category, we have Arsenal. Although Arsenal, I genuinely think could be a kit that goes into that beauty category. I really do like the Arsenal kit, so I'm going to move the Arsenal one up. So in the decent category, we've got West Ham, Aston Villa, Bournemouth and Leicester. And in the beauty category, we've got Brighton, Man United, Crystal Palace and Arsenal. If I had to pick my favourite kit, I'm probably just going to edge the Man United kit with the Brighton kit. I really do like the Brighton kit for this season, and the worst kit without a shadow of a doubt is that Southampton kit. But that is where I'm going to leave it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and hit 60 likes, as I said at the start of today's video, that'd be absolutely class. Subscribe if you are new as well. We are now on the road to 7,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so and it does massively help out. Get your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Which kit do you think is the best? Which kit do you think is the worst? Shout out to our current tier 3 channel member BDavies211. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Hopefully you have enjoyed, and I shall see you all very soon for another one. Peace.